Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in. So there are a few internet outage issues here because I'm at my Guruji's place.
I wanted to let you know in advance and ask in advance on Wednesday the 6th, I need to go to.
So I cannot, I cannot switch on my video for some reason. Anyways, we are supposed to start. So we'll be starting it. Okay, so VAARA-CHAKRA, right? I hope everyone can see the screen share. So VAARA-CHAKRA is actually, it's actually a combination of the weekdays, including Rahu and Ketu. Okay, it's a combination of the weekdays, including Rahu and Ketu. Okay. So Vara or weekdays, they have something to do with the fire element, right? With the Agni Tattva. And the yogas that are formed on this basis, they can show the extension or increase of Agni. Okay. So Agni has everything to do with energy and with life. And the life of a particular house in the horoscope, which is also known as the Bhava, it can be impacted through some specific combinations of planets. Okay. So what traditional learning of astrology suggests is that one should always base the yogas that are that are there in the birth chart on the VAARA-CHAKRA. Okay, so you should first study the study the yogas based on the VAARA-CHAKRA before you prescribe anything else to the to the existing client or to the one who has come to you for remedies. Okay.
Devishaji, the line cut out before you said, right before you said you should study these yogas before subscribe.
Yeah, the thing is that the audio would be a bit jittery because I'm at my Guruji's place. Anyways, what traditional astrology teaches is that every time you look at the yogas in a horoscope, you should always compare it with the VAARA-CHAKRA to find out whether that yoga would be malefic or benefic. Okay. So that is how you will look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Just okay, so the Vara, as we know, is a day. Okay, is a day, and the VAARA-CHAKRA is the compilation of the grahas which are lording the various weekdays. Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen, basically. Yeah. So the Vara is a day, and the VAARA-CHAKRA is the is the compilation of the grahas lording the various weekdays, including the nodes. Okay, including Rahu and Ketu that will end the sequence, right? And then the Varas, they are said to belong to the element of Agni, which is of course lorded by Mars. I have discussed this in very great detail in the masterclass on Panchanga. Okay, so based on the weekday lord, you can actually see the energy level and life force of the native. Okay, based on the weekday lord and its placement in the horoscope, you can always look at the energy level and the life force, right? So grahas, grahas whose fire or whose element or whose tattva is inimical towards each other, it will cause the destruction of life for that particular sign or house in which it sits. For example, suppose you were born on a Friday. The basic element of Venus is Jala. Okay, so because Venus becomes the Vara lord, it will be the seat of fire for the native. Now suppose that Venus goes into Pisces. Okay, so we will say that the Venus is exalted, but what is happening to the native is that because the carrier of fire has gone into a water sign, automatically there would be some kind of disturbance in the energy levels. There would be some kind of disturbances in the life force of that native. Okay, so you have to be very particular in in looking at the Panchanga before coming into the main details of the horoscope, right? Okay, so the sequence of the of the VAARA-CHAKRA is just like the weekday. It follows the weekday order: Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and finally it ends with Rahu and Ketu. Okay. Now there are there are 2 points.
Diveshji, one more thing. We are only seeing your very first slide. None of the slides have moved. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, I'm not moving the slides. I'm just saying whatever I have to say. Okay, can you see the other slide now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now there are 2 aspects to consider in the there. So there are 2 aspects to consider. Okay, so there are certain yogas that can be associated with the VAARA-CHAKRA. Number 1 is the yoga of Stambhan. Okay, this is the yoga of Stambhan. Here the here the table says it is a destructive yoga, but it is the yoga of Stambhan. Okay, so the principle is for while finding the grahas that are inimical to each other. Okay, the graha which is the 6th from any graha in the VAARA-CHAKRA will cause stambhana of that graha. Stambhana means freezing. Okay, it means freezing. That means it is preventing the frozen graha from manifesting some part of its qualities in the life of the native. Okay, so what it means is that whichever graha goes to the 6th from any graha, it will cause a destruction of quality of that graha. For example, if you look at this table, if you consider the sun, 6th from the sun is Venus based on the VAARA-CHAKRA. So as a result, Venus is causing stambhana of the sun. Okay, Venus is causing stambhana of the sun, and as a result of which, that sun Venus combination in any bhava can actually cause destruction of that bhava. Okay, similarly, if you look at Saturn, the 6th graha in the VAARA-CHAKRA from Saturn is Mars. So Saturn Mars combinations, they are equally destructive. Okay, but because Sun and Venus, Sun is a krura graha, Venus is a benefic. So here the experience is not that terrible. Okay, but because Saturn and Mars are destructive planets, because Saturn and Mars are, it's not destructive, because Saturn and Mars are tamasic planets. So every time Saturn and Mars combine together, because they are tamasic planet, the experience of that destruction for the native is very, very terrible. Okay, so if you have any yoga in this, if you have any combination in this based on this table, then that bhava in which the combination is happening, that bhava can suffer a lot. Okay, again, look at the 8th vara. Okay, next yoga is the grahana vara. Okay, the first yoga was for stambhana. The second yoga in the VAARA-CHAKRA is the grahana vara. Okay, so as we know, the 6th vara causes stambhan, but the 8th vara, it has the power to cause grahana. Okay, it causes eclipse of the graha that makes that graha forget or deny its inherent qualities. Okay, so again, for example, we know that Sun and Rahu combinations are quite destructive, because Sun is because Rahu comes 8 from the Sun in the VAARA-CHAKRA. So all the destructive combinations, okay, that is known as the grahana vara. Okay, so grahana is not only applicable to the Sun and Moon, all these combinations that are there, okay, all these combinations that are there, they can cause grahana. Okay, for example, if you look at some popular combinations are also there which are considered to be very, very good. For example, Jupiter and Mars. Okay, so the 8th graha from Jupiter is Mars, right? Some people say it is a Guru Mangal Yoga and it is very, very auspicious. But then when Mars becomes more prominent, what happens is the person or the native will forget all about peace and harmony, and non-violence will start becoming violence. Okay, so similarly, this Ketu Saturn combination, what happens is whenever Ketu is getting eclipsed by Saturn, that spirituality becomes non-belief, and one can become a fanatic or one can reject the guru. Okay, so in this manner you can understand how the 8th graha from any graha is causing eclipse of that particular graha. Okay, Now, comes the remedial part. Okay, for that, I'll just introduce you to the Vedic numerological chakra. Okay, this is the in any school of Vedic astrology, this chakra is correct, and this chakra is applicable. Okay, there is no argument on the on the verification of the numbers that are associated with the grahas. Okay, so sun is number 1, moon is number 2, Jupiter is number 3, Rahu is number 4, Mercury is number 5, Venus is number 6, Ketu is number 7, Saturn is number 8, and Mars is number 9. Okay, now let us look at it, how the the logic behind this numbering. Okay, so you are born from the sun and the moon. Okay, you means the lagna, right? So sun is the father, moon is the mother, and both of them come together to produce the lagna. Okay, so sun is given the number 1, moon is given the number 2. Once you are born, you start learning things from the world around you. That role has been assigned to Jupiter. Okay, once a baby is born, the baby starts learning how how it can get things from the mother once it starts crying, or maybe how the mother can immediately give give milk to it once it cries. So at some point the baby starts becoming like a politician. Okay, so you're learning all the things, right? You're learning all the things. So that role has been assigned to Jupiter because Jupiter is the celestial teacher. So that is number 3. Now, apart from all the good things, Jupiter represents all those things which are good in life, right? So apart from the good things, you're also learning the bad things, and all the all the bad learnings, they come from your relatives, they come from your friends. Okay, so that those learnings which are asking you to cross boundaries, okay, those learnings which are asking you to transcend your boundaries, they are assigned to Rahu. That is the reason Rahu is given number 4. Mercury is, of course, the eternal learner. So in this situation, it represents you. Okay, Mercury is the learner, right? Mercury is the learner. That is the reason you don't want, you have to be really, really careful while judging Mercury in the chart. Okay, because Mercury is learning everything. So suppose Mercury is placed in the 6th house. So you will be, you will be very quick to learn about the matters of the 6th house. Okay, how people are impacting you, what kind of diseases you have, how you can. Mercury placed in the 6th house can also lead to lead to divorce, because Mercury is also teaching you the separation from marriage. Okay, then comes your spouse, right, which is of course Venus. So Venus is given number 6, and after spouse comes your the progeny. Okay, that is Ketu, right? Ketu represents your progeny, that is number 7. And then comes your all the sorrows, right? Once your married life starts, or once you are engaged to someone. Okay, not even it did not be the spouse. Once you engage with the opposite gender, there will always be sorrow, and that is Saturn. Okay, that is Saturn. And finally comes Mars, right? So Mars is the death blow that happens to the body. And if you look at the numbering of the graha from 1 to 8, all these things you have to you will face it along with the society. Okay, but 9, Mars is all alone, because after 9 comes 0, right? After 9 comes 0. So 0 is shunya, 0 is death. So it means you have to be alone while you are while you are buried, or maybe while you are put on the pyre. Okay, so this is the logical base of the numerological chakra, which is also known as Vedic numerology. Now coming to the remedies that happen because of these combinations. What to do if you have these destructive combinations in the chart. Okay, now suppose you have a you just look at this chakra. Okay, suppose you have a destructive combination of say Mercury and Moon. Okay, so Mercury is Mercury is 5, Moon is 2, right? Mercury is 5, Moon is 2. Let's take another destructive combination. Suppose you're having a destructive combination of Ketu and Saturn. So Ketu is 7, Saturn is 8. Add up those numbers. Okay, add up those numbers. 8 plus 7 is 15, right? Now divide 15 by 9. Okay, divide 15 by 9. You will be left with a remainder of what? 6. You will be left with a remainder of 6. Now deduct 6 from 9. So 9 minus 6 gives you 3. So if you have a Ketu and Saturn combination, the remedy will come from Jupiter, because Jupiter has been given the, the position of 3 in the numerological chakra. Okay,
Can
let's
you
take
go
up.
over that? Can you go over that again?
Yeah, I'll just take another combination. For example, suppose you have a combination of Ketu and Mars. Okay, so Mars is 9, Ketu is 7, 7 plus 9 is 16. Now divide 16 by 9. The result is 7, right? If you divide 16 by 9, the result is 7. Now subtract 7 from 9. Okay, so 9 minus 7 is 2. So the remedy will come from the moon, which is 2. Okay. So suppose, if you look at the, suppose you are getting the remedy planet. Okay, you are getting the remedy planet. Now suppose the placement is auspicious, then it is very, very good. Okay, then it is very, very good. In that case, you can worship the Graha Devata. Okay, you can worship the Graha Devata. But what if the, what if the placement is not auspicious? So we'll just look at a few case studies. Okay, so this is the chart of a female who suffered from a lack of progeny. Okay, so I've included both the North Indian and the South Indian chart. Just don't get confused with the, this is due to the software. Don't get confused with the representations, the short forms. RA is Rahu, LJ is Lagna, CH is Chandra, GU is Guru, BU is Budh, KE is Ketu, SY is Surya, SK is Shukra, MA is Mars, and SA is Saturn. Okay, just don't get confused with the naming convention here. So now for the, for pregnancy, you'll always look, in case of a female, you'll always look at the strength of the 9th house as well as the strength of the 5th house. Okay, for male, you can only look at the 5th house, but for females, you will look at the 9th house as well as the 5th house. So look at this chart, you'll see 7 grahas that have joined in the 5th house. Okay, so what are those grahas? Surya, Shukra. So these are the malefic combinations. Okay, Surya and Shukra, then Shani and Mangal, then Ketu and Budh, Guru and Surya. Okay, and then Ketu and Jupiter. These are all destructive yogas, right? These are all destructive yogas, and there are 5 of them in number. If you group them according to the, whatever, whatever we have seen on the regard, just a minute. Yeah. So if you group them according to whatever we have studied, you will see that there are 5 destructive yogas present in the, in the 5th house. Okay. So what happens is, because a lot of destructive yogas are there in the 5th house, the possibility of having children seems very, very minimal. Okay. Now, who is the Karaka for children? The Karaka for children is, of course, Jupiter. Okay. So Jupiter is in the 5th house itself and is a part of the destructive yoga. So Jupiter is not helping. That means if you worship the Karaka, matters are not getting better. So now you have to find out the remedial graha. Now add up the numbers, which are, the numbers of the grahas which are here in the 5th house. So Guru is 5, Guru is 3, Buddha is 5, Ketu is 7, Surya is 1, Shukra is 6, Mangala is 9, Saturn is 8. So if you add all of them, just add them together. 1 plus 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 9 plus 6 30 plus, so it becomes 39. Okay, it becomes 39. Now divide 39 by 9. Okay, divide 39 by 9. The remainder is how much? The remainder is 3. The remainder is 3. Now deduct this 3 from 9. Okay, so if you subtract 3 from 9, you will get 6, right? So 6 is the number of Venus. So again, Venus is placed in the 5th house itself. So it is a part of the destructive yoga. So what you will do is that you will come to the conclusion that this yoga, that malefic yoga, cannot be remedied. Okay. And what you will do is that you will tell the native that the possibility of having a child is very, very less. Okay. So that is how you will judge. Okay, let's look at that.
Deveshaji,
Yeah.
the question, I was taking notes, and so in the first 2 questions before you showed the chart, like, you said, it was, K2 and Saturn, so 7 plus 8 equals 15. or you said the other one was K2 and Mars, so 7 plus 9 is 16, divided by 9 equals 7, but that's not correct. So
I'll just take another example for you. Okay, so suppose we have a destructive yoga of Sun and Venus. Okay, suppose we have a destructive yoga of Sun and Venus. So Venus is 6, Sun is 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. Now divide 7 by 9. Of course, it is not divisible. So we will be left with, you'll be left with 9 itself. Okay.
Why? I don't understand. If we're dividing and it's, so then we just take 9. I don't understand.
No. I'm not saying that. Suppose you divide 7, you divide 9 by, you divide 7 by 9. The remainder will be 7 because 9 0 is 0. So 7 minus 0 is 7, right?
What? No, I'm not following. I'm not, but 7 divided by 9 is not.
The remainder will be 7. You'll be going to the decimal part, right? You'll be ending up with a decimal value, isn't it? 7 is not divisible by 9.
0.7777.
Whatever it is. So you'll take the remainder as 7. Okay. You'll take the remainder as 7. So now you subtract 9 from 7. No, sorry, you subtract 7 from 9. You'll be left with how much? 2. So the remedy will come from the moon.
Right. Okay. So are you saying in this case that you are using the number of the decimal?
Right.
Okay. It's not a whole number. It's a decimal number.
Right.
But still, that is considered a whole number for the Jyotish equation that you're doing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's helpful.
Okay. So let's
Can we do another example?
Yeah, so this is the 5th. This is a male chart having 5th house issues. I'll just share the screen again. I'm really apologizing for the network issues here. You can see it, I hope. Yeah, so this is a male chart having some 5th house issues. Okay. Yeah. So Sun and Venus are joining in the 5th house. As I said, causing a destructive yoga. Now look at the 5th house. It is aspected by the 5th lord. That means moon is aspecting the 5th house, right? Moon is aspecting the 5th house. Okay. So since the house is being aspected by the house lord, we can say that the house is gaining some strength. Okay. But look at moon. Moon is aspecting the 5th house. I am speaking about Rashi Drishti, not Graha Drishti. Okay. Moon is doing the aspect from the moon is coming from a Dusthana. Okay, the aspect from the moon is coming from the Dusthana. Right? So that is there. That means the strength is considerably reduced. Now look at the Karaka for children, which is Jupiter. Okay, which is Jupiter. So that is well placed in the Lagna. So Guru in Lagna is very, very auspicious. So as a result, the native is having children. Okay, the native is having children. Now, this native is also a teacher. Okay, this native is also a teacher. So who is the Karaka for students? It is Mercury, right? It is Mercury. So Mercury goes to the 6th house, right? And because the rising sign is Pisces, so the 7th lord is the Badhaka. That means Mercury is the Badhakesh. Okay, Mercury is the Badhakesh. So as a result, what happened is that this native ran into severe problems with his students. Okay, his students, instead of considering him as their teacher, they started considering him as their enemy. Okay, so as a result, what happened is, during the Mercury Venus Dasha, he went through a lot of court cases which were actually filed by his students. Okay. All right. Yeah. So male chart again, problems in the friendship circle. So which is the house of friends? Anyone? Which is the house of friends? Anyone? The house of friends.
No, 11. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 11. Okay. So look at the 11th house. Saturn and moon anyway is very, very destructive. Okay. So there would be difficult, there will be difficulties in the issues of friendship. Okay. So moon, who is undergoing severe destruction because of being eclipsed by Saturn, moon is also the lord of the ninth house. Okay, moon is also the lord of the ninth house. Okay, it is, you know, that means what? That means there would be problems in the friendship circle due to spiritual convictions. That means due to religious beliefs, because you look at Rahu, which is again placed in the ninth house. Okay, now who is the who is the Karka for friends? It is Mercury. Who is the 11th lord? Again, it's Mercury. So it's placed in the 12th house. Okay, so because the Karka and the 11th lord is placed in the 12th house, so what it shows is that the way out of these problems is by moving to a foreign land. Okay, now Mercury, if you look at this Mercury, it has joined Jupiter. Okay, it has joined Jupiter. So that means what happened is this native, he went to a foreign land and he found a guru. Okay, here the foreign land is India. So this native, he came to India and he found a guru, and then he started having very good relations with the disciples of his guru's ashram. Okay, so this is the third chart. Okay, one more. So again, female disturbance in friendship circle. So look at this combination. It has Mars and Rahu in the 11th house along with the moon. Okay, along with the moon. So here what happened was the native was the member of a band. Okay, the native was the member of a band, and because Rahu is there along with Mars, so it was the members of that band exhibited a lot of aggression towards each other. Okay, that caused a lot of problems in the training, in the rehearsals as well. Okay, so because Mars and Rahu is known as Kuja Stambhana. Okay, Mars and Rahu combination is known as Kuja Stambhana. Mars is Kuja and Rahu is the original Badhakesh. So anytime anywhere Mars is placed with Rahu, it causes obstruction in the path of Mars. So it causes Stambhan in the path of Mars. That is the reason it is known as Kuja Stambhana. Okay, so what happened was, because Mars is the one who is suffering from the destruction of destructive aspects of Rahu, so the native also suffered from problems in the stomach. Okay, because Mars rules the digestive fire, so there were some problems related to the digestion of food. All right,
But here, are you doing the math?
yeah, I'm just saying that Mars and Rahu, because see, Mars, whenever Mars combines with Rahu, the problems could come from anywhere. Okay, you have to look at the basic karakatwas of Mars. Mars is also the digestive fire. If your Mars is weak or debilitated, what happens is that your digestion ability goes for a toss. And this is regardless of wherever Mars is placed. I'm not looking at the 6th house at all. I'm not looking at the 6th lord at all. I'm just saying that whenever Mars combines with Rahu,
You mean in the same bhava? You mean in the same bhava? Or do you mean it with a drishti? You mean
no, it could it could be a direct aspect as well, not a not the direct aspect means the 7th aspect, not the other aspects. But if they are together, or if they are mutually aspecting each other, then this problem will arise.
So what's the remedy?
Kuja Stambhan, the easiest remedy is to stop consumption of milk. Okay, because then the remedy will come from moon. Okay, Mars.
Because in this case, because moon is in the bhava with them, but
no. This can be used as a general remedy for Kuja Stambhana. Okay,
to stop consumption of milk.
Yeah, to stop consumption of milk, because if Mars is afflicted, you cannot digest the moon. Okay, if Mars is afflicted, you cannot digest the moon.
The moon, Chandra.
Yeah. Okay.
So all milk products.
No milk products. Okay, and you'll see people having Kuja Stambhana. Most of them would be fond of either milk powder or something that is made from milk. It need not be sweets, but something that is made from milk.
So you're not doing the equation though here in the mathematical equation that you're.
No, you can do the mathematical equation as well, not an issue. You can just do the mathematical equation and see. Suppose I'm here. The problem is with moon and just a minute.
Mars and Rahu
chart. Yeah, so look at Mars and Rahu. This is the Stambhan effect, isn't it? So Mars is 9, right? Rahu is 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. So if you divide 13 by 9, you'll be left with 4 again. You'll be left with 4 again, right? So 4 is Rahu.
You mean subtract. Are you meaning subtract?
No. I'm not saying subtract. I'm just saying 9 plus 4 is 13.
Yeah.
9 plus 4 is 13. You divide 13 by 9, you will be left with 4. Now subtract 4 from 9. Now subtract 4 from 9, you will be left with 5.
5.
So the remedy will come from Mercury.
Okay, Deepanshu, I am not understanding, like, I'm understanding what you're saying, but when you say, okay, 4 plus 9 is 13, and then divide
13 by 9.
Divide 13 by 9, you say we get 4, but really we get 1.44444444. So I'm confused.
No, you don't get 1.444. You just divide, you just tell me the remainder after the first division, first step.
I have a calculator.
That's what I'm saying. You just divide it by, divide it on the spot. 9 into 1 is 9. 9 into 2 is 18. So it will be 9 into 1, 9.
Hold on. There's something that you're saying that is missing. So we have 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay.
Now divide it into parts of 9. So 13 is 9 plus 4.
Yeah,
if you want an easy way, I'm just giving you an easy way.
It's a matter of following what you're saying. It's clear, but it's not clear how to do it. So we're at 13, and then what? Because
I'm saying that 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay?
Correct.
9 plus 4 is 13. Just do the division that you used to do as a child. Don't use the calculator. Just do the division manually. So 9 into 1 is 9. 13 minus 9 is how much? It's 4.
No, wait a minute. You said divide.
You have to deal in remainder only, I presume.
Yeah, it's the remainder only. It's the remainder. I'm not asking for the actual number. Just the remainder. Remainder after the first step.
Okay, so in that case, if you're saying divide 13 by 9, it goes into it one time, and then you have 4.
Just don't consider 4. Just consider the first 4. You're left with 4, isn't it?
Okay, so you're talking about the remainder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're only talking about the remainder.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now you take the remainder.
Yeah, now take the remainder and subtract it from 9.
Because that is, why subtract it from 9?
That is the principle.
Okay. Okay. So we have 5, right?
Right.
In Hebrew, we say, I learn quickly. You just have to explain slowly.
Anyways, I have a Rahu aspected by, I have a Mercury aspected by Rahu. So that is the problem.
Yeah. Very quick. Okay, can we do another one? Because this is good.
Yeah, just look at this chart. Suppose you have I'll just take the eclipse one. Suppose you have a Saturn-Jupiter combination. Okay, suppose we are having a Saturn-Jupiter combination. So Saturn is 8, Jupiter is 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. Divided by 9. You will be left with 2. Subtract 2 from 9. You will be left with 7. So the remedy is coming from Ketu.
So can you do it again? Do it again.
Let's say you have a combination of Jupiter and Saturn.
Okay, so we have 3 and 8 is 11.
Yeah, 11. Now divide 11 by 9. 9 ones are 9.
9,
Remainder
and then we
is
have
3.
2. Oh,
Now, yeah,
no.
no, I'm sorry. Remainder is 2. Yeah, remainder is 2. Now subtract that 2 from 9.
We have 7.
7. So the remedy is Ketu.
So how do we know which chart to use, though? You have 3 tables.
No, I'm just,
Right.
this is the numerical, this is the remedy table, right? This is the remedy table. The numbers will come from this table only.
Right.
This is
Okay.
the problem table. This is
Yeah.
the problem table. Suppose you have a moon and Saturn combination. Let's take another one. Suppose you have a moon and
So the
Saturn.
combination is the one below and the one above.
Yeah, table 1 and the table 2. These are the difficult combinations.
Acha, okay. Acha, okay. And combination is in the same bhava?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Suppose let's take another one. Suppose you have a moon and Ketu combination. We know that this is bad.
Mhm.
Or suppose we have a Rahu and Venus combination. We know that this is bad. Suppose Rahu and Venus. Take Rahu and Venus. So Rahu is 4. Venus
Mhm.
is 6. So 6 plus 4 is 10. Divide 10 by 9. You'll be left with 1. Now subtract that 1 from 9. You'll be
So
left with 8.
Saturn is the
Yeah. So Saturn.
Saturn is the remedy.
Right. So Graha Devata of Saturn. It could be Kali also. It could be Kala Bhairava also. It could be Vishnu also, depending on whichever parampara you follow.
So is this from BPHS, this whole thing?
Yeah, it is. It is from the Panchang part.
Mhm. Okay. Do you have another chart?
No, I have compiled only these. If we want, we can discuss them in the group later on. Okay, there is a question why it is said that Shanivat Rahu and Pujavat Ketu. See, the thing is that it is because of the Tattva, because of the same Tattva. Because Rahu and Saturn are both Vayu Tattva. Then Mars and Ketu are both Agni Tattva. Okay. So Shani is air and Rahu is the one who spreads the air. Similarly, Mars is fire and Ketu is the one which amplifies the fire. Okay, that is the reason it is said it is a Tattva level thing. Okay. And does it have any impact on its calculations? Yes, you can see, suppose, every time there is an excess of fire or there is an excess of air in any bhava, it can cause destruction of that bhava. Okay, suppose you have a Saturn Rahu combination, it can be terrible for that bhava. Suppose it goes into that combination, happens in the 7th house, it can actually cause destruction of your married life. Okay, similarly, suppose you have a Mars Ketu combination in the 10th house, it can cause terrible anger issues whenever it comes to work. That person could be a pronounced Hitler at work. Okay, so wherever there is an excess of fire or excess of air in the bhava will undergo a lot of problems, right?
So if there was like in this chart like a Mars Sun combination, so in a bhava, so that would be 1 is Sun and then 9 is Mars, so that's 10, and then you would divide 10 by 9 and the remainder is 1, and then you take 9 minus 1 is 8, right? And so that means the remedy is Saturn.
The remedy is
right?
Vishnu in that case. Yes.
Vishnu. So then what okay, so the remedy is Vishnu, so can you expand on that?
Yeah, it would be a simple Vishnu mantra like Om Namo Narayanaya or Om Vishnave Namaha. Anyone would work. Okay, and suppose a planet gets trapped in that combination. Now Mercury is a planet that cannot fight fire. Okay, Mercury finds very difficult to negotiate with fire, to deal with fire.
Right.
Venus can easily deal with fire, but Mercury cannot deal with fire. Similarly, suppose a planet, similarly Venus finds it very difficult to deal with air. Okay, so suppose in a Mercury gets caught in a Mars and Sun combination, or suppose Venus gets caught in a Rahu plus Saturn combination, it becomes very, very difficult for these two grahas to deal with it. That is the reason financial problems will be very, 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 very prominent in the chart. If any chart contains excess of fire and Mercury is stuck in that fire, or if any chart contains excess of air and Venus gets stuck in that air.
So what would you do in this case if like Mercury was, so you said Mercury can't deal with Agni, the fire. So what would you do Mercury was in this bhava with the Mars and the Sun.
In that case, you do the Mahavidya remedy of Mercury, which is Tripura Sundari,
What?
the Mahavidya mantra of Mercury. Okay, in that case, you'll run to the mother, the divine mother, the Mahavidya associated with Mercury. It is Tripura Sundari. And similarly, the Mahavidya associated with Venus is Lakshmi. You can consider it as Lakshmi, or you can consider it as Kamala as well.
So are you saying, because for me as a non-Hindu, are you saying Tripura Sundari is another name
Tripura
for-
Sundari, yeah. Tripura Sundari is the form of the Devi that is associated with Mercury. And Lakshmi or Kamala is the form of the Devi that is associated with Venus.
Okay, so it's two separate things.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Can you put the I've seen the, can you put the table number 1 up again?
Yeah.
So this is a different combination, right?
Yeah, this is the 6th from any graha, and this is 8th from any graha.
So in this case, like, because I think I'm getting confused, when you're saying 6 from any graha or 8 from any graha, so if Mercury and Ketu, let's see. So let's take Mercury because we're talking about Mercury. If Mercury and Ketu were
Are
in
together.
are in the same house, right?
Mhm.
So then that's 5 plus 7 equals 12 divided by 9.
The remainder will be 3.
3, and then the 9 minus 3 equals 6. So the remedy is
Venus.
Venus. So in this case, what would you do?
In that case, you'll go for the Vishnu avatar mantra.
Mhm. 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 So Vishnu Avatar mantra, you're
Mhm.
saying that that's a specific mantra.
Yeah, that is a specific mantra.
Mhm. So in this case, when we talk about remedies for a native or someone's chart we're doing, assuming they would want to chant, in this case, there would just be one. Is there only one?
It will depend on the entire chart. You see, the thing is that you don't want to prescribe, suppose the chart contains 10 melodies or 10 difficult combinations. You cannot chant 10 different mantras, isn't it? You have to maybe give a maximum of 3 mantras, because we don't have that much of time, that much of
Right.
energy in our hands to cleanse the entire chart.
Right, right.
Right. So you have to see, which combinations are there and which one to remedify. Anyways, if you have to ask me a sequence of how a chart is remedied, then you have to first look at Kala Sarpa. Okay, and you have to first look at Kala Sarpa, all the planets within the Rahu Ketu axis. That is the most difficult combination to have. And then you have to look whether there are any curses in the chart. Okay, because if curses are there, other remedies will not work. So you have to rectify the curse first. And finally, you have to look at the Badhakesh, what the Badhaka is doing, or what the Badhakesh is doing. Okay, so these are the 3 most important things to consider in a chart while prescribing remedies. Other things can follow from that.
Mhm. Mhm. So for me, there's something, maybe it's your, what did you say, your Rahu Mercury?
Mhm. Yeah, so Rahu is 4, Mercury is 5.
No, I'm talking about how quickly it's being explained.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm saying that whenever you look at a chart, whenever you are prescribing remedies for a chart, you first have to look at 3 combinations and then look for the other combinations. Okay, the first combination you have to see is if there is a Kala Sarpa or a Kala Amrita in the chart, because
right,
that can cause a lot of problems.
right. And then you have to see if there's any curses.
Yeah.
So how do you know if there are curses?
Curses is a situation where, see, if you look at curses are a condition where a benefic planet is being impacted by 2 or more malefic planets.
Mhm.
Okay, for example, suppose Jupiter is there in the Lagna and say Mars has joined Jupiter, and from the 11th house, Saturn is aspecting that lagna. So Jupiter is under curse. Okay. So Jupiter is under curse from Mars and Saturn, but Jupiter is the one who will fulfill that curse. That means the curse will come from the bhava, which is the bhavas which are lorded by Jupiter.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. So we'll have a separate segment of discussion on curses and their and how to how to deal with them. That's for
So
a
a
different.
curse is considered that when there's a benefic planet that has two or more
Malefics.
malefics aspecting it.
Aspecting it or joining it.
Joining means in the same house?
Right.
Okay. And then you're saying then you have to look at the Badakesh.
Yeah. So the Badakesh, of course, for for movable signs, the 11th lord is the Badakesh.
Right.
For fixed signs, the 9th lord, and for dual signs, the 7th lord. So the
Right.
Badakesh will always cause problems wherever it goes. Okay, suppose the Badakesh is present in the 7th house, so there would be you can blindly predict that there would be some delay in the marriage, because the person would go from one relationship to the other, but that will never turn into a marriage. Okay.
Mhm.
So suppose the Badakesh is in the 5th house, then the person would face a lot of problems in having children. Suppose the Badakesh is in the 11th house itself, then there would be problems with the incoming flow of income. So that's how it is.
Is there any impact on right, like for the movable, it's 11th, for the fixed, it's 9th, and for the dual, it's 7th? What if the Badakesh is in the Badakesh planet? So what if it's in its own sign,
In its own sign, it will become more powerful.
in a more powerful, right, for sure.
Mhm.
But what kind of way?
What kind of way? It will depend on which bhava it is sitting. Suppose suppose the 11th lord is the Badakesh. Suppose Mars is the Badakesh. I'm speaking about Capricorn lagna. So Mars will become the Badakesh because the 11th house is Scorpio. Okay. So suppose that Badakesh goes into it sits in Scorpio itself. Okay, it sits in Scorpio itself. Then you would face problems due to your income coming from undisclosed sources. Maybe someone from the government would call for an audit of your income, or maybe the government itself would come for your to check where the income is coming from, because Scorpio is the house of the unknown, right? So you are you may be getting very, very rich, and people will think that, oh my god, how is he getting so much money from? And then someone may put a public interest litigation or a PIL, which we call in India, on you, and then there may be a there may be a tax raid on you and things like that.
So are you saying that if the Badakesh planet, whether it's 11 for movable or 9 for fixed or 7 for dual,
Mhm.
if it's in its own sign,
Mm.
you're saying, can it become more powerful in a positive way?
No, because Badakesh will always behave like Rahu, because Rahu is the original Badakesh. If you look at Aries, or if you look at the Kalpurush chart, the 11th house is ruled by Rahu and Saturn. Okay, so Rahu is the original Badakesh. Wherever Rahu will sit.
What did you say about looking at the two different signs and then you see it's Rahu? Can you go back?
I'm saying that if you look at the Kalpurush chart, which starts from Aries, the 11th lord, which is because Saturn is also the 10th lord, so we have to consider Rahu as the Badakesh. Okay, Rahu is the original Badakesh.
How are you getting that?
I'm saying that Rahu is the original Badakesh.
I know you're using if we start from Aries in the Lagna and then we have Saturn in the 10th.
So the
and 11th.
Badakesh will always carry the energy of Rahu.
Oh, the Badakesh always carries the energy of
Right.
Rahu.
Just like the 7th lord will always carry the energy of Venus, so the Badakesh will always carry the energy of Rahu. So the job of Rahu is to cause disruptions, right?
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Not only.
It is.
It's our reason we come into this life and incarnate.
Yeah, it is actually not the reason that you are incarnating. It's the reason for your motivation. Wherever Rahu sits, that house is the primary reason why you wake up in the morning and do whatever you do.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
So then back to what this combination of what we learned, and so we've eliminated, Kala Sarpa, you're talking, or Kala Amrit. You've talked about if there's curses, we'd have to look at that. And the Vedic. So are you saying that I think what you're saying is if there's Kala Sarp, we have to deal with that as well. If
Mhm.
there's a curse, we would have to pick out, let's say on Jupiter, because it's a very big planet. So let's say it was Saturn and Mars or something. So we would have to also do some kind of remedy for that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we're looking at the Badakesh,
Mhm.
which you haven't talked about a remedy, but how are you tying it into applying a remedy for this mathematical combination that we've talked about?
See, the mathematical combination can, suppose you have a, you have a Mercury K2 combination. So anyways,
Right.
suppose Mercury is the Badakesh. Okay, suppose we are speaking of, you are speaking of a Pisces Lagna. So Mercury automatically becomes the Badakesh. So at the end of the day, the principle is the remedy should not take up, take up a lot of time of the client. You don't want the client to to do japa 24/7. It's not possible. And there are astrologers who expect the client to do that. So anyways, the client will actually run away from those astrologers. A remedy should be one that takes care of all the maladies in the chart, isn't it? It's not that, for this problem you're running to Vishnu, for that problem you're running to Shiva, for that problem you're running to Devi. We don't have that much of time. So what I'm saying is, a remedy has to come by looking at all aspects of the chart, not only this, not only from the VAARA-CHAKRA. But yes, if anyone is a beginner in astrology and is having these difficult combinations, then they can find out the remedy by themselves to by using the calculations that I mentioned here.
So if someone had a Badakesh planet that was separate from these combinations, there might be
then there might be a different remedy required.
like two, you might suggest two.
See, the astrologer will suggest according to his or her own understanding of the chart. I have seen astrologers who suggest 10 remedies for a single chart. But in my humble opinion, that is not, that is not practical. Something has to be practical for the client.
Right. It has to be obtainable because then that in itself becomes a difficulty.
Yeah.
And an obstacle. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right, then I don't see any more questions coming in. So I'm really sorry for the thing about the video. There is a problem in the network issue at Guruji's place. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you soon for another session, hopefully next week. The video for this session will be available on YouTube by tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much.
Vishwaji, when is the class starting?
On the 1st of May.
Oh, on the 1st of May. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you posting all of the guest lectures and your lectures in our group?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Namaste.
Happy Navaratri.
Yeah, thank you so much. Same to you.